Good morning. We are the search planning team. Just to let you know, this is being recorded and will be emailed to all of you tomorrow. So who is the search planning team? Well, it consists of myself, Sarah Carmichael, Robeson Amory, Tom Cherry, Ted O'Gell, Dave Shaw, and Marcy Wallace. Our agenda for today is first, we've made our introductions. Next, we'll explain the task before us, share what we've discovered thus far, offer our preliminary recommendations, invite feedback, and then we'll map out our next steps.
So, why are we here? Our current youth minister contract ends July 31st. We were asked by the Leadership Council in December of 2018 to help prepare the way for a search for a new minister in 2019. We are here to help expedite the overall search process. Searches typically take 8 to 24 months, with our experience at Union being that they often take more than a year. And just something to remember is that we are not the search team. Our tasks are to examine the past survey results about the minister role from 2015. So in late 2015, a committee led by Mike Spinella did an extensive amount of work, hosting second hours, conducting interviews with key leaders, and doing a congregational survey. While there were many different thoughts about the role, they generally centered on wanting a person of intelligence, compassion, warmth, and sophistication, one for whom social justice is important, a role model for youth. Someone who can serve as a worship leader, preacher, conduct special services, lead small groups, do some pastoral care, a confirmation leader, a retreat leader, and who also has a sense of humor. The congregation also sought someone who was approachable and organized. The members felt that the role should not be seen as a youth minister, but for a congregational minister who has a focus on youth, social justice and outreach, and gifts for worship. Yes, of course. We also looked at community conversations from late 2018. We looked at the United Church of Christ data about contemporary ministry, and we have made some recommendations about how to shorten the length of the search.
Our other tasks are we have reviewed the position description and made some suggestions for changes, and we've begun writing the church profile. This is a church profile. It is a 40-page document that basically details everything about the church down to the location in order to attract a potential candidate for ministry. We also are going to communicate with the congregation and invite feedback about the minister role in the search. In past survey results from 2015, you expressed a desire for a person with particular personal and professional qualities, which Robeson has already explained in the previous slide. You were also looking for someone who will stay longer than a year or two, and a position that has room for growth and flexibility, which could help us to keep someone for longer than a year or two. You would also like someone who is on the path to ordination or already ordained.
Despite the community conversations that were held in late 2018, not focusing explicitly on the role, we learned that there is a desire for small group opportunities, pastoral care organization and visibility, outreach opportunities, and communications improvements. Seeing these 4 desires, we have incorporated these desires into a whole staffing model and the expectations for the next associate or assistant minister. This graph shows the average tenure of United Church of Christ associate ministers who left churches from the years 2010 to 2014. The vertical axis is the number of pastors who left roles as associates during that time span, while the horizontal axis is the length of stay. The United Church of Christ has not compiled data for the last 5 years yet. While the average length of stay is 5 years, the top of the curve is pulled to the right by a small number of pastors who had tenure of more than 10 years. The most common length of stay is just under 2 years. Union Kong is not abnormal for having had associates stay that long at all. On the other hand, it is possible that they will stay longer with the right fit.
We have reviewed the current position description over several meetings while trying to evaluate the current staffing needs with input from the Personnel Committee. The search planning team's initial recommendation is to search for an associate minister rather than an assistant minister. An associate minister is a called position, meaning that the congregation as a whole votes for the candidate after the search team makes a selection and they stay for an undetermined length of time, while an assistant minister is hired for a contract of a particular length, anywhere from a few months up to 2 years. It does not require a congregational vote. The reason why we are recommending an associate minister rather than an assistant minister is because better candidates are likelier to apply for a called role. Those who are coming out of seminary and want to be ordained, as most people do, need a call. It makes sense that we open ourselves up to more candidates if pursuing an associate. We still believe that the majority of the previous position description is good, healthy, and the result of great work done 3 years ago. The position description for an associate is for an associate, and it is for a role that desires the person to grow with the congregation. We want to act in faith that while the most common length of stay for associates is just under 2 years, we believe that this is a great role for the right candidate. We are a great community worthy of someone's gifts and talents who will want to grow with us, to really grow their skill set while they're here for more than just a year or two. We want to maximize our time with the right person, and we like the fact that the congregation will vote to call this person rather than the second minister being hired by the Leadership Council.
Following on from what Sarah has talked about, the changes we have made to the position description have been to tweak rather than overhaul the prior role, placing an emphasis on youth ministry, congregational ministry, including worship, preaching, and pastoral care in concert with other staff, outreach, and education. Union Cong has had a variety of experiences with search and call, but almost all of them have been quite long. We struggle with how searches that take 9 to 24 months are necessary. By coming close to finishing the profile, we will cut as much as 2 to 3 months off the front end of the search. We seek to actively recruit from seminaries, other churches, and we will stay regularly connected to David Popham, the Associate Conference Minister for the Central Atlantic Conference, who is aware of those ministers who are looking for churches or who are about to be looking for churches. Often churches will let their profiles just sit on the database, responding slowly to applicants. Similarly, applicants are not always quick to respond to the initial posting on the United Church of Christ website. We encourage the search team to set firm deadlines for interested applicants utilizing the available recruitment pools. There are no guarantees that we can substantially shorten the search process, but we will ask the search team to move as quickly as they can while balancing the needs of the congregation for a good candidate against the end of the current youth minister's contract on July 31st.
Our preliminary recommendations are to seek an associate minister rather than an assistant minister, to tweak rather than overhaul the prior position description for the next associate minister. The search planning team will complete 90% or more of the profile, which will help to shorten the search as much as we can, and we'll blend the desire for a qualified candidate and an efficient search process with the end of the current youth minister contract.
Our last task is to communicate with all of you. Today, you can write any questions you might have on the easels at the front of the sanctuary. There will also be listening sessions on February 12th at 1:30 p.m., February 13th, and February 19th at 7 p.m. at the church. On February 24th, we will report back to you summarizing the feedback from the community and outline the final steps of the search planning team work.
Our final steps are to listen to all of you via email or at listening sessions on February 12th, 13th, and 19th, to report back to you on February 24th at the annual meeting. Then personnel will then provide the position description, approve the position description, and the Leadership Council will approve the position description and the church profile. And finally, a search team will be appointed by the Leadership Council and commissioned at a service in March.
So that brings us to the end of today. Please write any questions on the easels and attend one of the listening sessions. Also feel free to email Tom or Marcy. Just as a reminder, we will be recording this talk and it will be distributed on Monday. Thank you so much for listening.